Hello guys. Okay, today we're gonna be talking about EasyPlanter Scatter. Yeah, this is something that I've been planning on, and especially I was using the tool EasyPlant Scatter for a while on my projects, and then I was improving it, adding some features, figuring out things that wasn't working uh, as good as it could be, and that makes me to update the tool. And I'm glad here to announce you that I will give that to you for people that bought the version, the first version. So you guys will have all the updates for the future. And this is one update. I think it's very important, and I'm here to show you the reasons that I did what I did and what have been changed. Okay, so if you guys take a look on the previous version of EasyPlant Scatter, that is the file that you got. Okay, so you have basically this scatter system, and you have all these options here, and you have this scatter system which is for green walls, which has a bit of different settings, right? And you have the collections. Each collection is organized with the asset and the scatter system, right? So you were drag and drop the collection to your scene and working on it based on the asset that you want to do, that you want to work with. And of course, you had the option to change the asset and to change the proxy. Okay, but I figured this was still a very limited process, and I will show you why and what made me change things that I think it was for the better. Okay, right now, if you go to the new Plant Scatter version 1.2, you see the system is just like this. You don't see any other plants here. The system is basically like this. And I decided to do this because I think it's better to you have a masters the system master, uh, the geometry node system, and then you can add your scan, and then you can add your asset on it, right? It's better than drag and drop your asset to your scene, and eventually you don't want that access, and then you delete the asset. You have to go to orphan data, delete it, blah blah blah. It's a bit of extra steps. Sometimes you want that asset, but sometimes you have your own assets, right? So it's better you just have the system clean and then add your asset on top of it. The other reason was version 4.0. 4.1 allows you to have panels. So now you have panels. You just have everything organized here, and here you have everything like distributed as it was possible before. Okay, but I have added uh, lots of more options to the system. So if I keep the same way we had here, we will have a long list of settings that will be kind of painful to be, rolling up and down to find where the settings is. And now you have everything organized here, and probably I I'm very sure it's for the better. Okay, let's compare first. You have in the new system here, which calls collections at the beginning. So if you open the collections, you have your scatter collection, which is the main asset, and you have the proxy, custom proxy collection. If you want to create a custom proxy for that asset, you can put that collection proxy here, and it will work as you have it here, because all of those proxies are custom. You see, you have the proxy here, and that's the custom proxy, right? But you just have this option of proxy, or is this, or is the main asset, you know or it's a custom proxy. If you don't have any custom proxy, the system doesn't work. Okay, I figured this is not ideal because sometimes you don't have time to be creating custom proxies, and if you change your asset, the proxy, the custom pro, and you leave that other custom proxy in a big scene, you will have proxies that doesn't really match with that asset at all. So it can be a mess, right? You can see that, right? So right now, proxies are inside optimization. Okay, if you open optimization, you have proxy and you have the option for custom proxies, right? If you press custom proxy, nothing's gonna happen because you have no custom proxies here. But if you press proxy, no matter which asset you have there, it automatically create a bounding box that as a base proxy. Okay, if you render, your scene will be the asset will be rendered fine, just as before. But now you have the option to create to just uh, set your proxy with any asset, and that will work. Okay, if you want to put any custom proxy here, for example, this is Texas Media 1, you just go inside assets. For this case, there's a proxy collection here. Just drag and drop and turn it on custom proxy. So you have your custom proxies here, okay? And more than that, and that's a very special tool. Now we have camera cooling, right? What does that mean? That means that if you have a camera here on your scene, like for example, this is a camera, right? Let's scatter a bit of these assets all over the place, right? So if you have your camera here in your scene, doesn't matter, it will be based on your active camera, right? You can create you can press on camera cooling. So that means that it will be, the mesh will be cut it off from your camera range. If you go to the camera, we still see the mesh here, right? If we take this line, for example, this line here, and we drag the line here, we will start to see, because it's based on the camera, right? And you can adjust that because sometimes you don't have, your ratio can change, you know, and the way you adjust this is here. So you have two options: a cooling range, which is based on the ratio, right? So you can reduce it here so you see more, right, vegetation at the border of the camera. So it prevents that eventually in an animation or something, your vegetation will not disappear, right, at the borders of your camera. So if we move the camera here, we will see everything will be updating accordingly, right? That's amazing for optimization, but also you have another option. Let me show you. This other option is, and you can combine both. The other option is cooling distance, because sometimes you have geometry here and you don't need your vegetation to be cast from too far from the camera, because there are other things in front of it and you will not see that vegetation anyway, but that will be computed for the rendering. So that will take more memory, right? So the basic range distance, I put 200. Maybe it's too much, but you can always go down here and starts to go down, and what will happen is, like, your vegetation will start to disappear from the distance of the camera. Okay, so let's say that you have lots of things here and blocking this area and you don't need to see the vegetation here anymore. That's fine, you will not see that. And then as soon as you change your camera, everything will be updated accordingly, right? And you will keep that distance. So optimization for memory calculation, right? That's what is camera cooling about. So you can turn it off and all the vegetation will be there. That's optimization tab, right? And then more general assets that I had here in planter scattering that was all over the place. I combined them inside general. Okay, general means that characteristics of your scatter that will be not changing. It will be not changing at all, right? So those are move onto Z, move on Z, right? Just to adjust a little bit your vegetation on Z axis. The range, which back in the days was here, still the range, right? The range. So you see, like before, let's delete the rest of these lines. Let's delete them, right? So we can focus more here. This is the range, okay, like before. And this is the range resampling. Range resampling is the same as you had here as a range subdiv, because I try to simplify. That's just the resolution of your range that you can increase it here for better adjustment, right? Let me show you what's happening here. For example, if you, right, turn it here and your range becomes like, if you're resampling too much, you will start to cut it out your range, right? Because it's based on a line, right? Actually, this is not the same as this. I will show you what is this about. This is the range resampling here. This is another thing that I moved to a different panel, right? Okay, so that's basically the general aspects of it. Okay, you have your alignment mode, which, let me remove proxy so we can see. Right now we have all the geometry facing Z, so you can change your alignment mode, and so your plants will be facing the normal. Okay, back in the days you don't have this option here. Unfortunately, you don't have this option here, so it will always face normals. Okay, but if you have a slope and you need to add trees on it, the trees will not be sloped. The trees would be aligned on Z. So that was an issue, and now it's fixed. So if you have trees here, you can just turn it on the alignment mode, and they will be facing on the Z direction, so properly, right? This separate instance is also new. That means that if you have instances on yours, if you have collections inside your scene, right? And you want to separate the instance on it for different reasons, you can turn this on, right? For example, if you have objects inside, lots of objects inside the same collection, and you scatter that collection, you will have not all of them at once, but separate as different instances. You will notice more the difference of this, playing around with the tool and see. Back in the days, that wasn't possible, that we didn't have that option here, but nowadays we have it because it will be very important, and you will see that will be very important as soon as you will deal with the tool in your daily production. Okay, so those are basically the main tools for general, right? Now we have density. Density is the minimal distance from the scatter, right? And the maximum distance. Okay, back the days this was here, scat this min, scat this max. Okay, now is this, right? So we have rotation, randomizing on X and Y, and also randomize it on Z, X and Y and Z. Okay, the same thing, we have it here, random. Okay, now we have scale. Okay, this was changed as well. I've added the option to scale all of the geometry generally at once. Okay, that's very important. Back in the days, we have scale, general, which is the same thing, mean and maximum. Minimum scale and maximum scale. Okay, we have minimum now, maximum, and this thing here, let me show you this thing here, which was dim scale, a dim scale factor, which was a bit of cloudy. It was difficult to understand. It's the scale based on the border. Okay, that was moved to here inside the scale, so you have border affection. So if you increase this, you see that the border of your range will affecting the scale of the asset, and you have the range of this affection, right? You can see these more here, right? If you turn it 0, it will not be affected. Turn it on 1, you will be like just based on minimum and maximum. Okay, so that's more organized. It's more about organization, right? Distribution noise. This distribution noise was inside distribution. I moved it inside distribution panel because this again was here, scattered noise and scattered noise scale. Okay, that was a bit difficult to understand, but now it's easy. So you have a noise on your distribution, right? And the scale of your noise, it's here, it's defined here. Okay, it's better to understand, easy to understand. That's all. Organization, right? Now you have this thing here that before you had this, but it wasn't really having any, these guys wasn't working before, right? But now it's working, and I will show you how it works. For that, I separate a layer here called assets tests. In this assets test, I have inside it different collections with the assets, all right? And I will drag this collection inside my collections, and now it will be a mix of different plants, okay? Let's move this alignment to be better. Okay, so now we have probability. It's up to now it's enclosed for 5 different assets, 6 different assets actually. So you can put 6 different assets on your collection, and you all of them will be scattered. But then let me say you don't need to have that much of these assets in the same proportion of the others. Now you can change it here. Okay, you can change it here. You can change the amount of different assets, right, of your collection, and that will be, it gives you way more control over the whole system. Okay, that's a big deal, and I figured that while I was working, right, on a project, right. Let me just remove this vertex to make everything easier to understand. Okay, now we have this option. Okay, combine different assets in one collection to create maybe green walls or things like that. Okay, so another thing is the mode, right? Inside general, you have modes. That's very important. Before, you doesn't have any different mode. The mode, it was this one, scattering by line, right? And using the line to scatter your asset and change it on the range. And that was the thing for the tool. But now you have different modes. And what does that mean? Because sometimes you want to create a scatter, but you don't want to create it this way. So now you have uh, three more ways that you can create your asset, right? So these ways, I will show you here. You have range, which is the basic one. You have points. Points mean that it will scatter one asset in each point, okay? This is good because sometimes you want to add the trees in different places, right? Specific place on your scene, just one tree. And points is specially made for that. We can scatter different points and the object will be placed on the points. And you can see the randomization of asset works as well on the points, right? This is one mode. The other mode is on mesh. Sometimes you want to create a wall, right? Let me cast a plane here. Oh, I cast a plane inside the asset. Okay. So now I have my plane and I want my plane to be a green wall, let's say. So instead of I have a line, right, with a range, because maybe this plane is something special, right? Maybe this plane is something like this, right? And it has to be a wall, green wall. I just choose, instead of on points or range, mesh, okay? And I choose the mesh. This is the mesh. So now I have the whole thing is scattered here. That's great for creating green walls, okay? Another option that we don't have before, right? And the last option is to create walls, okay? Walls, but that's more for green walls, okay? Green fence. I'm just gonna show you here quickly how it will be, okay? If you go to green wall, this will create on top of your line a green wall, right? And that green wall will be defined by the range, and the range you can always adjust here, okay? If you go to proxy, you see more or less where how your green wall will be. You can change the noise and the height of a green wall and the noise, right? Something like this. You can change it. And if you remove proxy, you see how it will be scattered. You can always move on Z and you have the adjustment, okay? But that's not great. What will be great, it will be if we have leaves, just a leaf to create that, right? So instead of all these assets all together, which I already show you what's the reason for that, I'm gonna show you the how you can create quickly. The same thing you will have here in a prune, okay? To remove proxy, we will have these guys here, okay? But you now do not have the inconvenience of having one scatter system different from the other. Now with this scatter system, you can create that easily, and I will show you how to do that. Okay, that's prunus leaves. So prunus is inside here. By the way, you have all these assets, not the scatter system anymore, just the assets on the file. So you can still use them, okay? And you have the master scatter system. that is easier because now I will if I'm not updating the system anymore for distribution, because right now, at least for now, this is a kind of okay for what I think it's necessary, and I will be updating in the future just the assets, so you can keep adding the assets to your library to use with the system, right? So that's the Prunus, right? Prunus leaves, which is this asset here, I think. Yeah. Okay, so let's bring this guy here. Now we have the leaves here. The only thing we need to go, of course, because now it's different way, it's adjusting the density. Okay, put this, I don't know, 300, something like that. Okay, so now you have it, right? Now you have it, and you can adjust the noise here to have more random leaves around it. You can go to rotation and even randomize more all directions. Okay, and as soon as you turn it on proxy, you have this inside inside the green wall mode. The proxy works like that because it works exactly for the green wall, so it's optimized for your scatter system, right? If you go here and render this out, you will see, oh, why my camera is weird like that. My camera is rotated somehow. Why? No, I want to select my camera here. See? That's weird. Okay. So if you render this out, you have your fence just like before, but now you can improve it because you can set up better your system and set up better other options, right? Like camera cooling for the optimization. You still can use the camera cooling for the optimization, and you will have it, right? For example, let me show you. If you bypass the camera from here, you will no longer see the geometry happening here. Okay, if we go here, we turn off the proxy, you see camera cooling is working just as expected. Okay, so you have way more options now, and it's way more organized. Animation is still not implemented yet. I move it here. Naming, the same thing. Projection, the same thing. You can project on top of a collection, or you can project on top of object. The only difference now is that I have instead of having this switch like projection and projection object versus collection and project object project collection, no, that's a bit of it's not the most intuitive. Now you have this clean projection mode, known object or collection. If you choose object, you have to pick up the object. If you choose collection, you have to add the collection here. Unknown, known. Okay, way cleaner. I hope you guys like this update. I've been doing this from my heart because it's what I think is the most useful for myself, and I want to share with you guys, and I hope you like it. If you like this video, subscribe the channel, thumbs up. If you don't like, thumbs down. If you want to comment something or something that you think it could be improved for the next updates, you could comment in the link below. And that's it. I hope you guys like it, and see you all soon.